Hey folks, Sredni here with a racer's perspective, streaming weeknights from 2200 to 2300 PST. Thanks for joining us. Tonight I'm going to continue the series on wreck ships, just kind of exploring the different ships available and how they fly. And tonight we're going to do the Argo, but I don't want to spend the whole time on that. I'm actually going to start off by showing the videos of the Crux Cup races that I participated in from my perspective. Starting with the quarterfinal here. Not sure how much commentary I'll have exactly, but the Crux Cup was my first time participating in any kind of competitive multiplayer game tournament. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I did that. I'd recommend it for anyone. I don't think it really matters how fast or good you think you are or aren't. I think you can still have fun. Even if I had lost the heats or lost this race and not progressed, I think I would have been glad that I did it. I was a little surprised how nervous I was. This first race in particular, I think sort of being the first competition, I was extremely jittery the whole race. While I fared reasonably well in this quarterfinal here, it was ultimately a real nail biter for me the whole time, regardless of my pole position. Pretty much just repeating myself constantly, not trying to restrain myself from flicking the mouse too quickly, passing out, constantly reminding myself to go slower, take it easy, watch those G's. You can see that the consistency as a result is actually pretty good. The nerves weren't nearly as harmful as the restraint, I think, was beneficial. Before this race, I had a great time chatting with Eric and Postal Boy. I think we did quite a few races together for practice. It was quite a bit of fun.
It's lagging very hard for me.
And Andre, who was in this quarterfinal race. Oh, there I go. Andre, who was in this quarterfinal race, stayed in voice with me for a bit, waiting for the semifinal, and I had a nice chat with him as well. That was probably my favorite part about the Crux Cup, was just getting to spend some time with people interested in racing,
Can't even fly.
talk about sources.
I'm blacking out, crashing. Fucking 5 AM, man.
So I hoped for a little faster than 3:34, but ultimately it was enough.
Okay, you're all in this time.
It was
Have fun.
Okay.
it was
Good
also
luck. Have fun.
fairly close, within 10-15 seconds of the type of time I'd expect. So this is the semifinal beginning. This is actually the second take of the semifinal. I do have on my personal YouTube posted the discarded race, but IPOC and one other racer, who I cannot recall, they crashed out of the race right as it began, so we ended up restarting. So in this race I'm against Energy and IPOC, as well as several others. Energy and IPOC are both clearly faster. I kind of knew that going in. So I'm really happy to be in first right at this moment, and hoping to hang on to that, hoping that IPOC and Energy will battle it out, interfere with each other behind me. But ultimately I'm just hoping that I can show well enough to ensure I get third place and move on to the final round. Box catching up, he passes me right there. There's Energy. I clearly didn't have oh, maybe it's IPOC. Huh. I clearly didn't have a very good first lap, and neither must they. 111's a little slow for me. It's very slow for them. They're pretty tight, close to a minute. My better times are usually about 104, 105. A little more shy of the minute mark. Still thinking to myself, I want to get to the finals. Don't pass out. Don't pass out. Don't pass out. So there's a lot of restraint going on, and still a lot of nerves. Which is just a bad combination. So you don't really know how much you can push it when you're nervous. But I think the good thing is that everyone else is, or a lot of other people are probably feeling something similar. Have adrenaline going on and experiencing the same thing. So I'm very happy with third place here. Wasn't expecting any better than that. I would have hoped for some faster lap times. But I also knew that if I was flying at any time under 110, I was probably going to be okay. And I felt good that I improved my total race time slightly. Okay, here's the final.
So good luck, have fun.
So at this point, I've spent, I don't know, quite a while thinking about, sweating about this final. Desperate to see what the final lineup was, what everyone's lap times had been up to here, and I really came away from that pretty confident that I had some close competition. I could comfortably get third, and then this happened right at the beginning.
Fucking gate.
And it was a real oh fuck moment. So this totally discards my strategy too. I go from I'm gonna be conservative to fuck that, I tried it and it didn't work, and I'm in 5th place, and I gotta make up time. And I know there's other folks here besides Energy and iPod that can beat me, that are fast, and I can't afford to hold back. That's the mentality, and I'm still kind of sort of trying to hold back, but not really anymore. Means I just start to
Gates
take more
open.
risks.
Oh, unlucky.
And I kind of get sloppy. Like, okay, I'm in 4th place. Still make it up. But that 121 lap time is just cringeworthy. That's what passing out does to you, though. And of course, Andre who's ahead of me, was having a really great race. So I spent a lot of time trailing, just a ring or 2 behind. And then that happened. And this is the moment where I was like, oh no. This is actually the moment where I felt like I'd lost. And by lost I mean podium. I really wanted to podium. At this point, I'm just praying that someone will make a mistake. In front of me.
Fucking gates don't open.
117, still not good. I don't think I pass out again. I think I make up some ground. That's Andre. He's a ring ahead. And I know I could catch him.
Fuck off,
If he
ey.
just make a mistake, and he doesn't.
Congrats, iPork.
And good for him.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys.
Oh my
Like I
god.
said, we talked in chat before.
I have to fly every
this race, before the
gate
semifinal
closed.
actually, had
Every second gate
a great
closed.
time talking.
Hey, nice work, Andre.
No one that I would have rather lost that 3rd spot to. You can see I actually had quite a good last lap. Not bad for me at all. Just wasn't meant to be. Okay, so quick refresher. We got this rec system in Arena Commander. One of the best things you can do to spend that rec money is get to try out the different ships. I know you can't take them into the PU, and that's kind of a bummer. It'd be great if you could. But in terms of really enjoying them, if you're not a big dogfighter, if you just want to kind of fly the ships, racing is a great way to do it. It really helps you get a feel for the ships. One thing that I've always felt like the players that don't race, like don't race ever, are missing out on is the fact that no matter what you choose to do in the persistent universe, whether you are gonna haul cargo, or collect bounties, or pirate, or do exploration, or whatever you decide to do, having tight control of your ship is going to matter. And when things inevitably go wrong, that skill could make the difference between having your ship and not having your ship anymore. So it's a worthwhile investment to learn how to fly the different ships. And the more ships you have experience flying with, the more flexible pilot you're going to be. Faster you can make it through those tracks, the more precise. So you don't do stupid stuff like crashing into Port Olisar. So tonight I'm just continuing the series on trying out some of these ships. Tonight we're going to look at the Argo. One of the reasons why I started out by showing the Crux cut footage is I really didn't want to spend an entire stream just on the Argo, but I also didn't want to take away from another series of ships by trying to do 2 sets tonight either. So I'm going to do some laps in the Argo, both the cargo and the personnel versions. I don't know if there's any difference. I've only flown one of the Argos once before, and when I did that, I think I made it 1 lap around OV before the race ended, and it was a really really sloppy time. So I'm interested to see what I'll be able to put together tonight. I'm flying with keyboard and mouse. Use a Corsair K95 and a Logitech G900. I mentioned that just so you can understand how I'm flying, why I'm flying the way that I am, and also because I'm going to mention once again, like I did with the Aurora last night, with the Argo, you have a lot of drift. It's basically really bad at maneuvering. It's a brick. And so I've taken advantage of my mouse's customizability and created a setting for extra sensitivity. That's going to help me pull little tighter turns in the Argo. I wasn't quite paying enough attention. I forgot to load up my game in advance, so please bear with me. Game should be loaded in about a minute. This is just one of the many consequences of being completely unexperienced and frankly incompetent as a streamer for now. Hopefully that will change over time. Okay, so I'm going to start out with a cargo. My gosh. I'm nervous flying this thing because it kicked my butt the last time I tried it. This thing is so slow. Yeah, dressed like a mother. So this might see how far I'm drifting at 100 meters per second. Oof. When I started to turn, oh, you can't go that fast. There we go. So this might seem like a farce. Why would you race this ship? What's the point of... Oh jeez. What's the point of racing the ship? Again, it's not just about racing, although if it moves you can race it, and that's one of the things I love about racing. It's so pure. Just how do you get from point A to point B as fast as you possibly can? Oh jeez. So I'm gonna have to really adjust my sense of speed for safe turns here. And not only that, but you can see on OV, granted I've crashed a few times, but on OV I'm gonna run out of fuel. So a terrible racer, but even if you never race with your Argo, taking this out on the track, even if it's just in single player like I'm doing here, you're going to learn so much about your ship. You just can't get that type of feedback in the persistent universe, especially when you're flying in space. You get occasional bits of feedback when you're landing or navigating a port, but most of the time you've got so much space around you, everything just seems hunky-dory. And I think that's where the sentiment comes from. I hear every once in a while that ships kind of all fly the same. I think if you're in the PU, you could probably think that. Especially if you haven't tried a lot of different ships. I mean, the controls are all the same, but they're very different when you get them on the track, and that's because the track demands precision. You just don't experience that in the PU. For example, if I was driving this thing in the persistent universe, I wouldn't crash it under any normal circumstance. And it's those abnormal circumstances we're thinking about. What happens if you do get into a spot of trouble in the PU? With my Argo, what am I going to do? I don't imagine Argos are going to be used as a drop ship too often, but they do have a personnel carrier. I think I'm doing the cargo unit right now. Yeah. I don't even know if I'm going to get a fast lap here. Can't measure a real lap without at least making it a lap without crashing. Yeah, what do I do to set myself apart as an Argo pilot who can get his crew out of a tight spot? Well, I need to really know my ship for that. So this is the third lap, and we'll go ahead and switch to the personnel carrier. We'll do 3 laps with the Argo instead of 5 like I did with the Aurora. I do kind of think Argo racing could be interesting. Maybe something for the Crux Cup in future years. It's kind of like the Aurora Classic, but more so. it's more Aurora than the Aurora. The Aurora really handles way too well compared to the Argo. I've managed not to crash yet. But I can't even make it around a lap of OV without passing out. Oh my goodness. I didn't even catch the top speed. What was it? 360. Okay. So my fast lap was 141. Put that in perspective. That's about a minute and 10 seconds slower than a decent lap in the M50. Alright, switch ships. Okay, so this one is the personnel carrier. Well, let's see how it goes. Oh. I really want to beat the 141 lap time. But I know that to do it, ironically, I have to go slower. Slower than I've ever gone before. I should have turned sooner, oh well. Oh, Driftfest. Can I do it? Never ceases to amaze me. If you can get a feel for a ship, you can race the damn thing. It's starting to feel like a racer, not because it's got any kind of speed, but because I can actually control it. I just wish I could control it without running out of fuel. Never would have thought I needed a shorter track than OV. But for the Argo I do. And if you haven't heard me mention it before, just for the record, I am a absolute shit fuel manager. Oh geez. There's just nothing I can do. So just because I run out of fuel on a single lap in OV doesn't mean you will. It's not inevitable by any means. Pretty much the entire reason that I didn't try for the Crux class in the Crux Cup. Whoa, what's going on? Is because of my fuel management just being terrible. I can't get a good time on Defert because, well, I've gotten better. I just cannot manage fuel worth a damn. It makes me really slow on that track. On OV and Rickard I can cheat because I can make a lap without running out of fuel, at least in the M50. This ship gives you a lot of time to think. Top speed's the same. Oh jeez. I'm having a slightly easier time, despite appearances. I'm having a slightly easier time flying the personnel carrier, but I don't think that there's any difference in how these ships are handling. Oh, jeez. So depressing. I don't think there's really a difference in how these ships are handling. They seem to be set up basically the same in terms of maneuverability. Certainly top speed is the same. Why did I do that again? And I'm not really sure that I should, but after this lap, oh jeez. After this lap, I'm going to take the Argo, go ahead and just keep the personnel. I'm going to take the Argo into multiplayer and test my mettle against whoever's online tonight. Hopefully there's people playing. How did I do? Hey, 135, improved my best lap by 5 seconds. Alright, I'm gonna choose to be happy about that. I don't know if it really calls for happiness or not, but I'm gonna choose to be happy about it. Okay. So I'm gonna switch to the personnel carrier. Hey, looks like there is somebody at least. Here we go. Gonna see if I can beat an Avenger. Ooh, I'm in first place. I'm in first place. This Avenger's got nothing on Sredni here. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Sharp turn, sharp turn. Hey, this thing's doing pretty good. I am still in first place. That's amazing. And I'm out of fuel. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be a Sunday drive. Okay, what's going on here? So I have to just guess that Cheech is just not racing. Perhaps he's still in the tunnel? This is the only explanation. But you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna get first place in a public match with an Argo. The fact that Cheech isn't even racing, that's just a technicality. Right? Oh, and he left. Okay, first out of one spot is not actually nearly as impressive as first out of two, so I think I'm gonna leave the match. It'd take me another 7 minutes just to finish that race. Oh. This just might be too dead of a night. Maybe if I try Battle Royale, you think it will do okay in there? I don't know if this is gonna work. You gotta have somebody to race with. We'll see if anyone joins in. I mentioned this the other night. It tends to get really slow, really quiet once patch has gotten stale for pretty obvious reasons. With 3.0 hopefully coming out in the relatively near future, and 2.6.3 having been out for quite a long time now, there's just not a lot of folks online. And to my disappointment, constantly racing is, I think, definitively the least popular of the Arena Commander modules. I think less popular than the PU as well. Not sure how it compares to Art Corp. Well, that's a shame. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I really don't want to give any of the other ships short shrift by tacking them onto this episode, and I'm not finding anyone online, so we're going to go ahead and end a little early tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. That's 2200 PST, Pacific Standard Time, and we do typically aim to go till 11. So we're ending a little on the early side tonight. I apologize for that, but I'd rather give these ships their due, especially because after the Argo and the Aurora tonight and last night, I really need to race something with a little bit more get up and go. So we're going to do the 300 series tomorrow. If that interests you, make sure you tune in. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching the stream. You can always check out archived episodes at Racer's Perspective on YouTube. And for all Racer's Perspective news, check us out at our website, aracersperspective.com. Take care.